I want to talk a little bit today about my art. I want to show some art, and I'm going to be better at doing art in the future, but I've been doing this for a couple of years now. And so I really love art. I want to get some feedback on this picture here. I call this, loneliness or totality. Hadn't figured out a total name for it. And then in my writing, I'm going to talk about the battles in my life, my interpretation of other people. Like right now, Ramsey Paul's got Alicia Biddle on his midweek program, which is called Homelands. And I want to say a word about the deportation. I think we must deport millions of people here illegally. We need a fresh start in America, and we need a moratorium on any further immigration for 70 years. 70 years, and we need up to 6 to 7 to 70 million deportations, and we need to bring back um, work to so the poor Southern white guy can get some jobs. Even elderly people are hurting, and so I want to see uh, free health care, including all doctor visits, all prescription, all hospitalization. And in East Tennessee and West Tennessee, I want to see homes built or reconstructed. Stop all wars for Israel. Let Israel have the autonomy to study the war for itself. We don't need to be interfering. Give Israel the freedom to do what she wants to do and let not pay for it, and build roads, high schools, hospitals, pay for the education for people to become doctors and nurses and firefighters and policemen or judges, and bring institutions of education on art and on technology uh, free for all native born Americans, and send the rest back home. As far as Greenland, I am for the annexation of Greenland and Iceland. You're only talking about a population of 500, and I believe that they want that. It would be significantly good for them. And I also want to show something I'm going to use in my writing, as that's a thesaurus and dictionaries. I'm probably better at speaking than writing. I've been trying to get my views on balance about Hitler because there are some people on the far right uh, that like Hitler, and he's an interesting, National Geographics and public television have stuff about him, but um, I think he went too far, and he was unable to compromise and unable to listen. Moving on, but I want to talk about political stuff in my broadcasts, but I want to talk about art and I want to talk about philosophy. So I want to learn about Martin Heidegger. I want to learn about Aristotle, Plato. Um, I want to learn about different kinds of logic and reasoning, and what are fallacies. And this is an example of my art right over here and here, here and up there. And I want to talk about faith. I want it to be okay to be white and European and also be a Calvinist or a Christian. Um, Catholics and Black Lives Matter and Koreans and Asians. I think and Japan. Japan is mostly Shinto or Buddhist, very few Christians there. But I want to explore Christianity. And I do want to share the gospel, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. But I want to talk about the church critical. The preacher's boys broadcast is always being critical. I want to talk about good news with inside the church. Like I know there is a friend of mine, uh, Bill Crabtree, that's been down in uh, North Carolina helping down there, and H.P. Hill, the great grandson or a descendant of A.P. Hill, the Confederate leader. And I want to talk about the Confederacy, and I have a Confederate flag right here. And this is what I think what it used to look like in the state of Georgia until we went through this cultural. Um and I want to talk about economics. I'm going to look at the economics of Henry Hazlitt, and I want to talk about Ron Paul and the Liberty Movement, and I want to speak about the New American and John Birch Society and the Republican Party because they're moving more to the right. You can see this with the implementation of the deportation and the remigrations. And I want to talk about our brethren over across the pond, like Martin Sheen. He's a German guy, and there's a lot of people I want to talk about, like Jared Taylor and Dr. Greg Johnson. And I really like the writings of Ron Paul. I mean, Pat Buchanan. And I like Ron Paul, but Pat Buchanan. So that's kind of an introductory speech about some of the political, and I want to talk about current events on a national scale. And I'm very interested in diabetes, CPAP machines, sleep apnea, insomnia, um, anything that has to do with lymphedema or skin diseases and viruses and all these kinds of things. I have a wide variety that I'm setting out as a set of goals. These are extemporaneous goals, but they're my goals. And I want to talk about music. I really like Richard Wagner, and I'd like to spend a day or an hour or a few minutes talking about The Ring and the Valkyrie and Wagner's writings and his person and his experience and what he did through life. So those are some of my goals, and there'll be more about them. And I want it to be interesting. I want to spend time in study, in preparation, and I want to be balanced, but I want to be risky enough that I can do the unsafe, like my good friend, or not a colleague, but someone I look up to, Ann Coulter, and I follow her on Substack, and also follow Jared Taylor there. And I'm going to recommend to Jason Kessler that he gets on Substack. He just started a broadcast yesterday, and I watched part of his first one of his broadcast. A lot of people are doing what I'm doing, and I learn as much as you'll learn, and I will learn from my mistakes as we go forward together. And you can find me on YouTube as Patriot Man 54. So thank you for listening.